Do humans really glow in the dark? Huh? Stand perfectly still in a completely dark room, and you are, quite literally, glowing. Not brightly, not visibly to your own eyes, but real light is leaving your body right now and has been your entire life. This sounds like the kind of claim that belongs in a tabloid, not a science video. It's actually a well-documented, peer-reviewed finding, and the story behind how we know it is genuinely fascinating. Let's start with what this glow actually is, because it isn't the kind of glow you're picturing. Every living cell in your body constantly performs metabolic reactions, chemical processes that keep you alive, converting food into usable energy, repairing tissue, fighting off damage from oxidation. As a byproduct of some of these reactions, particularly ones involving what are called reactive oxygen species, cells release an extremely small number of photons, individual particles of light. This phenomenon has a name. Scientists call it ultraweak photon emission, sometimes referred to as biophotons, and the word ultraweak is doing a lot of work in that name. We're talking about light thousands of times dimmer than what the human eye can detect under any circumstances. You could stare directly at another person in a pitch-black room for the rest of your life and never see it. So how do we actually know this is real? In 2009, a team of Japanese researchers used something called an ultra-sensitive charge-coupled device camera, a highly specialized imaging tool, far more light-sensitive than any consumer camera, capable of detecting individual photons one at a time. They placed volunteers in a completely light-sealed room and captured images over extended exposure times, essentially letting the camera collect incredibly faint light signals for long enough to build a visible picture. The results showed something remarkable. The human body does emit visible light, concentrated especially around the face, and the emission rises and falls in a clear daily rhythm, dimmest in the early morning, brightest in the late afternoon, tracking with your body's overall metabolic activity throughout the day. This wasn't the first time the idea had been explored either. Researchers had detected biophoton emission in isolated cells and simpler organisms for decades before this study. What made the 2009 research significant was capturing this effect clearly across the surface of an entire living human body, connecting it directly to natural biological rhythms rather than treating it as some obscure cellular curiosity. Here's a detail that makes the science even more interesting. The intensity of this glow appears to correlate with metabolic stress and oxidative activity, meaning, in theory, this ultra-weak light emission could eventually become a genuinely useful, non-invasive way to study cellular health, inflammation, or oxidative stress without drawing blood or taking tissue samples. Some researchers have explored using biophoton imaging as an early diagnostic tool, though this remains an active, still developing area of research rather than a mainstream medical practice today. It's worth being clear about what this glow is not. This has nothing to do with bioluminescence, the mechanism fireflies, certain jellyfish, and deep-sea fish use to produce visible light through specific light-generating chemical reactions, often for communication, camouflage, or attracting prey. Human biophoton emission is a completely different, unrelated phenomenon, a faint byproduct of ordinary metabolism, not an evolved signaling system. It also has nothing to do with the kind of glow associated with radiation. This isn't radioactivity, and it isn't dangerous in any way. It's simply an extremely faint optical signature of the fact that you are alive and your cells are working. So why don't we notice this constant whole-body glow in everyday life? Purely a matter of scale. Ambient light in literally any normal environment, even what feels like near total darkness to your eyes, is still overwhelmingly brighter than this emission. It would take specialized, cooled, ultra-sensitive equipment and total light isolation, conditions essentially impossible to create by accident, to ever have a chance of detecting it directly. So the next time you hear the claim that humans glow in the dark, you can say, accurately, that it's true, technically, scientifically documented, published, and repeatable, just far too faint for a single human eye to ever actually witness. Every cell in your body is quietly producing light every second of your life, an invisible, constant reminder that even at the most basic biological level, being alive is a genuinely luminous process. Hit like on this video, subscribe to The Blind Spot for more science myths debunked properly, one video at a time.